Good evening and welcome to the October 22nd meeting of the Board of Selectmen. You'd all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And good evening and welcome. Just finished up a couple of executive sessions, interviewing committee applicants. We have no public hearings scheduled for this evening. Any announcements from the board?
Nothing.
Just would remind everybody that absentee voting is going on here at the town hall, and you can vote until next Thursday?
5 o'clock to 31st.
Yeah, 5 o'clock to 31st. You come in here and vote and avoid any lines that might exist in November, on November 5th, which will be election day. Anything else? We don't have any appointments. There's no public here tonight. Any correspondence? The treasurer's reports are available if anybody's interested in that information. Reports and staff initiatives, selectmen's reports. Anything, Gordon?
No, I don't have anything.
Ted?
No, sir.
Tim?
Nothing for me, thanks.
I got nothing.
And I've got nothing, so we'll jump right to...
Well, I've got a whole page, and I had to lower the font to get it on one page
all
here.
right.
So,
Little reduction here.
thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll even put my glasses on here. Talking about some fall projects here we've mentioned before. The parking lot out beside the town hall here for additional parking for elections. We need a grader. We're waiting for that rental grader to be available. We're going to grade that gravel and then roll it and have it in its final form. And we intend to have that ready for November 5th, although with this election we probably won't need those spaces, but nevertheless we wanted to get done just in case. The water line project going into the fire station began last Thursday, and it continued until just about dark on Saturday, I guess. People worked some overtime, and we still have some final gravel grading and cutting out the well, which I think we're on the public water now. If not, we will be within the next day or so. Water department staff was working there the whole time on a variety of different pieces of equipment and laying the pipe as well. John Vicari, Matt Sampson, I think, were down there in the trenches helping lay that pipe. Those two people work for the Waterboro Water District. And I've taken a couple of complaints, there's at least one or two every year, about people picking up firewood. Dwayne may jump in on this as well. He's got some information on it. If CMP is cutting firewood and it's in the right-of-way, that's available to the public after 48 hours?
I believe it's 48 hours. The legislature changed the ruling on that a while back, but the landowner has 48 hours to pick up their own wood, and then if it's in the right-of-way,
Yep.
it belongs to whoever can get there first to pick it up.
Because all over town, the rights-of-ways are different in width, so you'd never know. So it's always nice to talk to the landowner there if they should be intending to use the wood. On a very fine note, the Gorham Savings Bank has generously agreed to fund our recreation basketball team. This year we're going to change. We're not going to use uniforms that the children keep at the end of the season. We're going to buy good quality ones and continue to reuse them. Gorham Savings Bank committed $3,000 in this year, $1,500 in 2020, and $750 in 2021. Very generous donation. I spoke to Heather Charette today, the local manager here. She appreciated the call and was glad that the bank could actually do this. And this happened because of Todd Smith's good work in getting this donation. Just to put a plug in your bonnet here, maybe something for a future agenda item is what does Waterboro want to do for a bicentennial celebration? A time capsule would be an okay thing. We could put the last edition of the Journal Tribune in it, and who knows what else, and have a 100-year time capsule. Some other towns are planning a white pine plantation, calling it their 100-year plantation. There's no shortage of things that we could do. We do have a flag that I think is up on the pole right now. If not, it's soon going to be. It's a very plain flag with no letters, numbers, or anything on it, which I guess in the world of flagology, that's what flags are supposed to be nowadays. But anyway, our statewide bicentennial will really ramp up in 2020. Fire department did a very fine thing recently. On October 3rd, they had a meeting with local church leaders to discuss cooperating with them and vice versa for natural or man-made disaster. 4 or 5 of our local churches attended, and they talked about emergency planning, first aid, CPR training, food preparation, staffing help, etc. It was a very good idea, and I credit Matt and his staff for bringing this up. And if we do have a proper emergency shelter here in the middle school or a future community center years down the road, this will certainly be a good thing to have the churches in one cohesive group to help out when something goes bad with Mother Nature. As Dennis said, absentee voting has started. It ends at 5 o'clock on Halloween night, so don't come here after 5 to vote or get candy. And we are voting here at Town Hall on November 5th. And the Community Center Advisory Committee met last night. The steering committee, I'm sorry. Both Gordon and Tim are on that committee. We had all the members there. And we're going to start talking about this more because this committee was formed in January of 2018. They held meetings and visited other facilities. And in 2019, the voters approved $25,000 for preliminary architectural work. And that work, that has gone out to bid now. The bids are due Friday, November 15th. And we want the public to know that there are 3 components to this idea from this committee. That being a gymnasium space and space for recreation staff and programs, a new library to replace our small one we have now, and lastly, a multi-purpose area for voting and all kinds of public suppers. It would have a commercial kitchen and could seat and feed up to 150 people. This is the idea of this steering committee at this moment, and that's what's gone out to bid for some very preliminary sketch plan drawings so that they can then take that information to the public in 2020 at some public forums and have some discussions with a cost figure in mind. But just understand that this design, the actual design, is very preliminary. At this time, this committee does not have athletic fields as part of this project. But they do want enough land for possible expansions or new structures decades down the road. They don't have any money for land yet, so stay tuned for some more information. There'll be a letter that will be sent to some people and available as a handout that the steering committee members can use in their daily lives around town to get people interested in talking about whether or not somebody would be interested in selling or donating probably 10 usable acres of land. So stay tuned for more information on that, and I'll probably be talking about this at least every other meeting, if not every meeting, as time goes on. That's it from me. Thank you.
Okay, a couple questions, Gary. I know the GIS is up on the town website, but what are we doing about updating the tax maps and bringing the data that's 2017 up to current?
Updating the tax maps we could do for $5,000. If we did the whole Monty and updated all of that into the GIS, it would probably be 20. So I didn't budget for all of that this year. So we will update the tax maps and have them in the hallway out here. But I think we're going to have to pick away at probably over maybe the next 2 years, unless we want to finance that whole thing.
Well, I think there's no sense of having a GIS up if it's not updated. So, and I think more and more people are starting to access it, and it's very informative. People can look at tax maps. They can look at their all of the data and everything else. So, I mean, for the additional money, I think that we ought to be driving to do that, and I would suggest that we've planned.
If it's on the internet, it ain't, people aren't flocking in here to rip the map.
This is a new vendor. It's the same outfit that's taken over the hosting of our website. Is that right to say?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not the website, hosting of the GIS.
Hosting of the GIS, thank you. Yeah. So the challenge is the maps right now that we use and have been historically using are in CAD. They're not in digital format, so those have to be digitized, and that's where the big cost is for that
I
first
thought
time.
we already did part of that.
Not the maps in this form.
I
Not
mean,
for the GIS.
I thought the work that was done most recently, and we hired that company to do it.
And a digital parcel layer is what we had.
Right, and they supposedly were digitizing the tax map so that that overlaid onto the GIS.
The thing they didn't do is line up lines.
Yeah,
And I think they put what we had on there, but the actual digitizing, printing part of that 20, doing the updates, that $20,000 initial fee makes that $5,000 a year thing drop to, what was it, 3,000? It drops it significantly, so it pays itself off pretty quickly.
I mean,
As far as digitizing the I have to look at that contract again.
Oh, it's right on my desk. I mean, we didn't budget enough money to do all of that this year.
I think you're right.
but this is like having a half loaf, right? I mean, it's nice that the GIS is up there and it's got all kinds of infrastructure stuff on there that Sewell did, and they did that, you know, a lot of that complimentary when we had the 2020 committee, right? But if we don't update it, you know, it's like having a cartoon, right? I mean, to me, and I thought that was part of the effort that was going on to update the maps. And I know they put they overlaid the tax map onto that, and I thought they were gonna line up those issues that were wrong.
But it's just not geo-referenced, right? Isn't that what the
Correct,
issue
yeah,
is?
Yeah, it's a whole nother cost. I mean, exactly, it's not georeferenced, right?
In terms of lats and longs.
And they're not updating until we tell them that they're gonna be doing our tax maps.
Which I told them that they are.
Right.
Well, the bottom line is that you're now 2-3 years old with active tax data. There's subdivisions that aren't on there now because they've been built out. There's land splits that aren't on there. You know, so I would, you know, my suggestion is take the 5,000, don't update the tax maps. You know, put the money into updating the GIS. Why would we do both?
Well, do you want to potentially move some money around at the end of the year and do the whole Monty?
Or just budget
I think the old Monty's got to be done, Gary. Whether or not we do.
We
it,
didn't have that
you
figure
know.
when we did this budget,
Yeah,
so
I just think that
that's on me.
let's see what we got to do to get it done.
Okay.
I mean, Dwayne's absolutely right. You cut down the foot traffic in here, and the people tying up staff.
It don't take long to cut into $20,000.
No, I agree.
Town labor, yeah.
So
Yeah, so the updated tax maps are still available, but they're outside of the GIS.
right,
You know,
yeah, and all we have on the website through the assessors part of it is just, you know, basically cartoon drawings, right? I mean, that's all they are. Is you can blow them up and look at the tax map and the lots and that kind of stuff there. So
But those have the latest updated splits on them.
yeah, the latest tax
Okay.
maps are always up on the website.
so we ought to look
Well,
at what it'll
We'll
take.
take a look
to-
at that and get creative with it.
I got one other, going back to that community building, 150 people in a dining hall is about half or a third of what we really need if we're gonna have a disaster. We were some lucky the other night, but if you went down along the coast, every house was out of power for 3 or 4 days. If we have one of these disasters in the winter and people need some shelter, that's only about 30 families that we could feed in that dining hall at
Well,
a time. And the gym, if you're gonna have a gymnasium, yes, you can have people sleeping in there, but we ought to be considering some type of a disaster, a game plan for a disaster in this building that we can house and
Yeah,
feed.
I think it wouldn't take a lot to look at how would you manage.
Even if we've got to open up another section of the building, but to be able to cook and feed 400 people. And
Well, some of
that's
those
only
people-
100 families, and we've got 2,500 families or better here in town now.
Some of those people would, obviously have to take food and go into the gym. I mean,
Yeah.
they'd be sleeping in the gymnasium.
Yeah.
But we can always make this bigger, but this committee's thinking pretty big, with 2 basketball courts in one gym
Yeah, and it-
area. So,
And that may very well be that is
You
that
may
if
be
you've
able to
got
turn
access-
that,
Right.
make sure you can turn that gymnasium into a kitchen facility if needed for a disaster. I mean, let's look at the whole picture.
Yeah, because, I don't want to really belabor this, maybe we can put it on another agenda, but Matt and I had a long conversation the other day, because I don't believe that, and I'm going to pass my words here a little bit, but if we had people without power for 3 days in this little most recent windstorm, it is not going to get better, okay? I don't believe that CMP is equipped to do what they did 10 years ago, 15 years ago, whatever. So, that being said, and I guess I'm frustrated because I think what we did in the ice storm of '98, what was done with the Patriot storm, with the gains that we had with the CMP folks that came in and they agreed that they needed to be able to provide more relevant information relative to how long people were going to be out, when they were going to be back on, so that we could help plan emergency management activities. I think we've lost ground with that, and I'm not sure whether that's because of the company or because of your county EMA or whatever, but if it takes CMP 30 hours or 36 hours to even update their website to tell you when you're going to get power back on, and all it says is assessing, somebody's not doing something. So,
And we can't knock CMP for what they've done.
right,
because they
I mean,
did-
the
with
guy,
the
I'm
damage,
not,
if anybody's ever,
right, I'm not knocking the
No.
line crews or anything, those guys, I wouldn't want to do their job.
No.
But whoever's orchestrating what gets done and when, I just think that we continue to go backwards. And there seems to be a reluctance to make county aware or EMA aware or our local EMA, or, what's happening? When would you expect? I mean, it's 24 hours had long gone by after the storm left before there was even a crew in Waterboro, right? So,
and there again, they're working on numbers, so.
Yeah.
And they was working the coast, because if anybody got down along the coast, it was a disaster.
yeah, but they can't, and I understand that, but, there has to be some consideration for what's going on in other municipalities, right? Because we can't manage emergency shelters or whatnot without good quality information. And I just think, who was the, well, I'm trying to think, who was on the board with us back in the Patriots days, Stone? Were you on then, Gordon? And we had, who was the gentleman that came from Sanford, DeFore or DeForge? And he agreed with
I
us
was
that,
here
and
at that point.
he ended up faxing, that was part of the thing that they did was, they made a commitment to alert and fax, local towns and
I think they
everything
give
else.
a lot of lip service and no action.
Well, I think as long as he was involved, I think there was some of that stuff that got done. But that's long since.
I was gonna say, he's gone, but
Yeah.
now I would presume.
And who was it? Cleaves.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's another situation where we need to understand what is he communicating to our folks, right?
They have a
I
new-
just think it's something that, you know, you know, some of it might be philosophical, but, you know, Matt and I talked a pretty long time the other day about what some of the things that have to change, I think, here as we go forward.
Did he talk to you about the regional aspect of the county? And I'm skeptical of that.
Well, you know, he talked about, you know, some of the things that are being done, but
Yeah.
all of that's wonderful, but if you don't, if somebody's not telling you, or telling Matt, who's the EMA director here, right? If they're not telling him what the expectation is, he can't plan how he's gonna manage emergency management. So,
Same thing we took to CMP last time,
Yeah.
same old story.
so anyway, whether or not we have another, and I know the last time we did this, which was, what, a couple of years ago? When
2 years
Art
ago
Art
around
was in here,
Halloween.
right? And Art said, you know, hey, I didn't realize that this, you know, we caught by surprise that the storm was this bad, and, you know, I think it's predictable now, no matter what you do, you're gonna see a longer times of people without power. Because I just don't think that they can react.
I don't
to
think
this
they got, CMP themselves haven't got the crew. They got some cistern
Right.
crews that they can bring in from out of state.
And that's what they're dependent on. That's why there's a 2 to 3 day delay.
That's right.
Because they have a skeleton crew in Maine, and they're depending on out-of-state crews to come in.
I mean, if the first trucks that I saw, and I think it was in Scarborough, were from Connecticut. So, anyway, I just certainly don't, I'm not bashing the guys that are doing the work. Those guys have got a job to do, and they do a great job once they get there. It's just a matter of who's conducting the orchestra. I think that's the concern.
Yeah, they're playing the instruments good, but nobody's setting the tempo.
Right. All right,
I forgot to read the questions, may I?
sure.
The ballot questions from the state this year are a $105 million bond issue to build or improve roads, bridges, railroads, airports, transit, ports, and make other transportation investments to be used to match an estimated $137 million in federal and other funds. And the second question is, do you favor amending the Constitution of Maine to allow persons with disabilities to sign petitions in an alternative manner as authorized by the legislature? It's for those people who truly cannot write, they can have some type of a digital signature, I guess, or a check mark. And on the state ballot, on the town ballot, the only question on here is the Waterboro ATV ordinance, which has been discussed, and we've had public hearings. It gives 3 sections of roads, the legal right for ATVs to go more than the 500 yards that the state allows. So those are the 3 questions that's on your ballot for November 5th. Thank you.
So the constitutional amendment, it just says an alternate matter as approved by the legislature?
Well, it would be defined.
Haven't they already defined what they would use? Why would you amend the Constitution if you don't know what they're gonna do?
It's authorized.
Just a question.
That's pretty ambiguous.
Yes.
I don't know the
And
answer.
does every legislature have the ability to, from one legislature to the next legislature, can they change the process?
Absolutely.
I think you're giving the legislature, well, I won't get into it. Okay, let's move on.
We could back up, Mr. Chairman. I did have something but I got it mixed up as between appointments and, announcements. And I attended a meeting of the M.R.S.A Business Exchange this week, and a product out of that is they're having a potluck dinner on October 24th, which is coming right up, and it's going to be at the Spiritual Center over at the Brothers in Alfred. And anybody who has a business in town, or is thinking about starting a business, and it doesn't have to be, you don't have to have a bunch of, 100 employees or whatever, but it could be, something that you're operating out of your house, like you make little trinkets or something that you sell. I know that people from the farmers market and so forth are going to be over there, but it's a potluck dinner, and it's open to everybody that is going to have a business. All you have to do is drop over, and it's at 6 o'clock, like I say, on the 24th at the Spiritual Center in Alfred.
Okay. All right. Let's move on to new business. Discuss a vote to appoint a member to the Library Advisory Board for a term to expire June 30th, 2022. What is your pleasure?
I move that we appoint Lori Littlefield to the Library Trustees for a term to end on June 2022.
I second that.
Okay, been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
401.
I wasn't here, but I
Okay.
do know one, and she'll do all right.
Sorry, what was the vote?
I didn't vote.
Okay, so 401. Item B, discuss vote to appoint a member to the Public Safety Committee for a term to expire June 30th, 2022. June 30th, 2022.
I move that we appoint Craig Abbott to the Public Safety Committee.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed?
401.
401. Old business, none. Discuss a vote to approve the minutes of October 8th, 2019.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Okay. Pending decisions, Road Entrance Appeals Board. We start to build up some of these committees, and we can get that board assigned, so.
Excuse me.
If you still know folks that want to be on the road review committee, or can talk to people about being on the road review committee, that would be great. We'll see if we can start to build these boards up. Week's action list, I think we're all set there. Discussion of agenda items.
Do we want to put 2 selectmen on that board, and then you've got a board that can review that?
I guess we could do that.
And then the board is full and till filled?
Okay. That's fine with me.
Well, it's just gonna save somebody from going to court.
Right.
It's the same way as our appeals board. And our ordinance
So do we
says
wanna-
that, our ordinance
How
says that
about,
we
how
need
about we
it.
put it on the old business for next agenda, and I would assume we'll come to this meeting and 2 selectmen will say, yeah, I'm willing to be on that board.
You're talking the Road Entrance
Right.
Appeals Board?
Yeah, which is just the appeals board that was set up in the,
Somebody's got to be able to read a tape and have a
Right.
good eye at 42 inches.
so let's put it on
That's
next.
the way the ordinance reads.
All right? Any other agenda items?
I think we can have an executive session for our final budget committee vacancy. Diane C. Hagan has applied.
Okay, so that's,
And the other gentleman that has been here before, he did not apply, so.
so 5:45 will be the, we'll start the meeting on the November 12th.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So we'll have one interview for a budget committee member, unless we get some activity here in the next few days.
We're going to start the meeting when?
5:45. We'll have one interview, a candidate. Anything else on the agenda? Okay, we'll see how things go. Anything else? Sensing none? I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Possible agenda item. Can we get Art Cleaves to come over and
Yeah, let's work that a little bit with Matt and see if we can set him up, and might not be the next agenda, but I think it needs to be sooner than later.
For a storm response session, is that what?
Yeah, I think we need to have that discussion.
find out where the glitch is coming here, because we might have to have somebody from CMP too. When their website says that they're gonna have everybody have power back in 2068 or something, that's what.
That was an error, that was.
Yeah,
Boy, that was a bad day for them, wasn't it? My goodness. Jeez.
And then it didn't change for another 30 or 36 hours. All it said was assessing, so.
How many areas in town did we have no power?
Well, there was, at one time, there was 830 people, services that were out.
I only knew about the transfer station.
They were all, and it was all over the
Transfer
place.
station was
Right. Daring Ridge on the east side had
that's what I
no
wanted to
power.
bring up.
So Pot of the Pines and all of those roads off from that.
I know the middle road was out for a couple days, 3 days, but
Can we put on the agenda to have some discussion on getting a generator for the transfer station? So that if we get the power out, that we can, still take care of our trash.
That's a big generator.
that's, I was gonna say.
If all those,
If we haven't got any power, why do we need a generator? Close it. If you got a bad storm, you're gonna close it.
If there's a
you've got-
bad storm, you agree.
And if you've got no power, people are gonna have to put up with it till we get the power back on. That's three-phase power.
That's
So
right, it is
why-
It
three-phase.
is
I mean-
three-phase, yeah. It's a big ass.
I mean, people have to put up with, they're lucky that the dump wasn't running and the house had power. Because 85% of the town had power. So they was lucky to build a shower and clean and cook and,
If we're gonna spend that kind of money, we should do it at the middle school.
Well, why don't we just, I guess, get some input from Clint, whether or not.
I'd get
And
some
David.
input from an electrician, because you gotta plan on running all the compactors and all the other stuff at the same time to plan for that generator to be that large. I have no idea what that would be, we can find out.
I can tell you that the generator that run Casco Bay Bridge for 3 days was 180 gallons of fuel every 9 hours. And that only item. That's three-phase power.
What
One over
size,
to
how
the
many
bridge.
KWs was it?
I don't know. It's a big cat generator. But
All right,
By the way, we just got a free generator from a bank up in Brunswick, and it is headed for South Waterboro Station, and we're thinking about whether or not to put it on a trailer so we could take it anywhere.
that may make some sense.
That was a nice find. We had to go up and get it, but it didn't cost us anything, and it's quite new.
Anything else? I'd take that motion to adjourn.
So you made it.
Oh, I'm sorry. All those in favor?
I don't know
I
who
don't know
seconded
that you
it.
need, you may need a second on that, because I don't think.
I'll
you-
second it.
Second.
We got
All those in favor? Good night, Irene.